I'm fat, but I want to be athletic. So I started a 90-day experiment to see how athletic I could be. Last week, I wrapped up with day 30 of this experiment, and that means that today we're on to phase 2. For those of you who don't know, phase 1 was all about strength. I was building up the strength in my lower body to be able to handle the athleticism that I was hopefully going to build in the next 2 months. During that strength cycle, I was able to add 80 pounds to my deadlift, which is more strength gains than I've ever had in my entire life. And I was also able to maintain my 40-yard dash and my vertical jump at the same time, which means by all accounts that strength phase was a complete success. Now it's time for phase 2, which I'm calling the power phase, which is all about rate of force development, which is the most important thing that I need to convert all that strength I built in phase 1 and over my past years of lifting into real athleticism on the basketball court. Welcome to phase 2 of the FATletic experiment. All right, guys, on to programming. This is the most important part of this entire phase because, obviously without a good program, you'll never get the results that you want. So I'm going to quickly explain each principle that I'm kind of running with. There will be 4 focuses that exercises will fall into, and I'm going to explain each of those and then show you guys some footage from my very first training day of this mesocycle. So the first and most important for this mesocycle is the power-based or rate of force development-based movements, right? So it's going to be power cleans and hang cleans primarily. Those are the main exercises that I'm going to be using personally, but things like trapdoor jumps and other variations to Olympic lifts like snatches or high pulls also fall into this category. And since that's my main focus, that's always going to be the start of the workout. I'll be switching between power clean and hang clean depending on if I'm on my leg day A or my leg day B. My leg day A is more focused on jumping, technically. That's how I'm programming it, but it's not completely focused on that. Every exercise I'm going to do is going to have carryover to both sprinting and jumping, which leg day B is about sprinting, or more so focused on the hips, while leg day A is focused on the knees. So you're going to see my first training day is leg day A, so we're going to start off with some power cleans right here. All right, guys, on to these power cleans. This is the first time I've ever done power cleans in a real workout with the intention of working them and pushing them. So you're going to see my technique here is really rough, especially this first set. That last rep, I did not squat deep enough into it anywhere near, and especially on this one right here, you're going to see I should have squatted way deeper into that, and it made that lift way harder than it needed to be. But we're going to get into the second set, which is going to go a little bit better, right? I go up to 155 pounds. I'm starting off on a 3x5. I'm going to do another session of a 3x5 before getting into sets of 3 for 2 to 3 sessions. And then eventually we'll be doing some heavy singles so that I can eventually max out at the end of the phase, just like the way I did for my deadlifts in the last phase. But yeah, I'm just mainly focusing on getting my technique better through these reps here. And I might consider doing even sets of 10 in the next few weeks to continue working on my technique and make sure my technique is locked in so that I can eventually max out and make sure that this training is as effective as it can be. My next exercise in every session is always going to be a heavy compound strength exercise. That is a carryover from the previous phase, but I still need to be pushing my strength this entire time. Because I don't want to get weaker for one, but getting stronger while developing my rate of force development is going to make that power training even more effective and have even more of a carryover into actual sport. So for this workout, it's going to be a squat, right? For my jump days, it's always going to be a squat of some kind. I did a back squat today. It will probably be mainly back squats, but on occasion I might switch to front squats. All right, for squats, we're running with the same rep scheme as my power cleans. So I also want to max out my squat at the end of this mesocycle because I've actually never hit a 1,000 pound powerlifting total. And my squat is the thing that holds me back from that, right? My deadlift is over 400 pounds. I can bench 225, but my squat right now is at 300. So we're pushing that up. Also, squatting just transfers really well to every single athletic movement. But yeah, right here's a set of 5. After this top set of 5, I actually back down to a set of 8. Just to work on my technique because I haven't back squatted much recently. So I back off down to 2 blue plates, which is 210 pounds, I think. I don't know. I'm not good with kilo plates.
You're gonna see that my technique's gonna be a lot better. You might have saw my hips shoot up on those last couple reps at 275, but you're gonna see when I'm at 2 plates, I'm actually getting deeper than I need to, and the weight's moving pretty consistently, and I'm moving in sync at the knees and at the hips, which is really what I'm trying to work on while I'm squatting, because I need to get better squat technique so I don't end up hurting myself, and so that I can actually be strong on the squat.
My next point of emphasis is going to be eccentric rate of force development, which isn't the most popular thing to train. It's somewhat controversial, but if you follow guys like THP or like that's Isaiah Rivera's clique or like the movement system, they're very heavy proponents of eccentric rate of force development training. And basically what that is eccentric overload focused movements, right? So that's a movement where the weight is too heavy for you to move it concentrically, but since you're so much stronger eccentrically, you're still able to control that weight down. So my exercise choice for this on my jump days is going to be a 2 up, 1 down RDL, where I'll get on some sort of setup where I don't have to worry about balance too much. And you guys will see that example there. But I'm basically going up with 2 with a weight that's too heavy for me to even lift it with 1, and I'm switching to 1 leg and slowly lowering that weight, right? So your goal is gonna be to lower that weight in a 4 to 6 second interval, and that's supposed to be insanely hard. These exercises are always brutal exercises. 100% the worst part of training, right? Those RDLs almost killed me. I had to go squat my buddy on bench after, and I literally had to tell him, like, I cannot pick up the weight off of you. I'm too gassed, right? So this is so hard. It's gonna be very fatiguing, which means I'm gonna cut it out towards the end of the mesocycle when I'm getting ready to peak and test out my athleticism again. But it's gonna be super beneficial, especially for me as someone who's very heavy. Eccentric RFD training is really good for reducing your ground contact times, which is something I struggle with, as well as just overall handling braking forces, which are very high if you're someone like me who's insanely heavy for what I'm trying to do, right? I'm trying to be a very good jumper while being, over 250 pounds. That just doesn't, those two things don't mix well. So training eccentrically in these are hard words to say. This eccentric overload is really gonna help me with those braking forces, protecting my joints, and overall reducing my ground contact time, which is gonna let me redirect more of my momentum into the air on my jumps and maintain speed during sprints.
All right, on to this RDL variation. You can see I start out by making sure the weight is too heavy for me to lift concentrically. That means it's gonna be super effective for what I'm trying to do, which is eccentric overload. Now, you're gonna notice my technique here is pretty rough. There's tons of motion at the spine happening rather than at the hips. The hips is really the focus. So if you're at home trying to do this, make sure you're moving at your hips and you're keeping your back neutral the entire time. I didn't realize I was running my back so much. I was just distracted by how hard this exercise is. This exercise is insanely difficult. So be very mindful of the way your back is moving. I had to take a break after my first leg. I had to be like, oh my God, I'm too sore, I need a sec. Right, so switch to my other leg. And this other leg, I actually was like noticeably weaker on. When I was going at this, I was like, man, I feel like I can't control this as well. I don't know if it comes through super well in the video, but I definitely felt like I was way weaker on this leg. I think my spine is rounding more, and I'm struggling to balance more, weirdly. So that's definitely something to look out for, and it can help you identify imbalances in your legs, because normally when I do something like Bulgarian split squats, I'd even notice that one leg is significantly weaker than the other, even with an insanely long history of knee injuries like I've had.
The last category of exercises are going to be general hypertrophy / development / like balance exercises, right? So this is going to be things like calf raises, leg extensions, leg curls, hip adduction, hip abduction. I'm going to be training all of those consistently just to keep my joints healthy, especially those hip things, because I have some hip issues when I squat in terms of mobility and strength, or mobility and stability. Like sometimes my hips bother me while I squat, so there's gonna be really heavy emphasis, and a lot of the times that'll be my warm-up before I do any power cleans or hang cleans or squats, to make sure that my hips are moving and kind of working properly before any of those movements. And then calves are always important for athleticism. Calves were supposed to be my final accessory during my first workout, but I couldn't do them because the gym I was at, the stacks on all of their calf machines are way too light for me. Like, I have really strong calves and I can max out most calf machines for at least like a set of 10 to 15. The calf machines at the gym I was at, which was a powerlifting gym, those ones only went up to like 300 pounds, which I can easily do for 20 plus reps, right? Because, you know, powerlifters don't train calves. I do train calves, so I couldn't even train calves there. I could have done the seated calf raise, which is technically programmed on my other leg day, but I just decided to skip calves for the day because I'd rather not deal with it. So normally this will end with calf training footage or leg extensions or leg curls, depending on the day. A lot of the time I won't always do leg extensions and leg curls because I'm doing so much quad and hamstring volume earlier in the workout, but you will see that mixed in throughout the coming weeks. There are other things that I'm gonna be mixing in with my training throughout, right? So I wanna do a significant amount of single leg training because I also wanna be able to jump off of one foot and able to sprint comfortably. So there will be single leg training, like those 2 up, 1 down RDLs. My leg day B, my B leg day has Bulgarian split squats programmed for quad development and for single leg strength. So you will see that I am doing more exercises than just those 4 like fundamental categories, but those aren't my main emphases right now. My main emphases are on rate of force development and overall strength, as well as eccentric rate of force development, right? Those are the big things. And then I'm just doing some hypertrophy exercises to keep my joints healthy and to keep increasing my overall fitness. But yeah, that's it for this week's episode. Thank you all so much for watching. Always like, subscribe, do all the things, click on the other videos on the screen. I appreciate y'all a ton. See ya.